Dr. Mache Seibel is a leading authority in women's wellness and menopause. He joins us today to talk about his breakthrough guide, The Estrogen Window, available now in bookstores. And we're thrilled that he's here to kind of break it all down for us and help us understand what we might be going through and what we can do to help. Doctor, thank you so much for being here.
Christine, my pleasure.
Well, first of all, when do we need to start thinking about menopause?
That's a really interesting question because the mean age of menopause in this country is 51. But it's important for women to realize that 5 to 10% of women go into menopause before age 45, and 1 in 100 go into menopause before age 40. And the symptoms can start up to 10 years before that. So really, women should just be aware of changes in their body and talk about it with their healthcare provider.
Absolutely. And how long does it last?
The symptoms in general will last about 3 years for most women, but it could have a range of up to 10 years and 7% a little bit longer potentially. But the good news is, as I've talked about in the estrogen window, there's so much that can be done to make it better.
Well, talk to me about it, because in the commercial break I was just telling him at 47 almost, you know, the different things, and you go to a doctor and you get your test done and maybe things come back that you are not menopausal yet. So you find out you're perimenopausal and you don't know what to do, but one of the things that always seems to come up is hormone therapy.
Right.
What if a lot of women don't want to do that either? So what are your thoughts on all that?
I'm just so excited about this topic because about 15 years ago, there was a report done that suggested that estrogen was just terrible for women.
Right.
But the thing is, a recent reevaluation of the very same data makes us understand they got it wrong. They actually misinterpreted the information, and now we know that estrogen is an amazing, beneficial, and safe thing for women to take.
So kind of back it up for us. Are we losing some of these as we get older and as we're going into menopause? Is our hormones, our progesterone, our testosterone, these things are lowering? Is that what's happening, or they're just becoming inconsistent?
Well, what happens is, in the transition between your reproductive years and your post-reproductive years, hormones go from totally synchronized to very unbalanced.
Yes.
So until they hit a steady state in menopause, it's a lower level of estrogen and other hormones, but it's a steady state. So in that transition called perimenopause, things are in a state of flux. And it affects your mind, it affects your brain, it affects your breast, it affects your bones. It's a whole body experience.
And what would you say, what happens if you don't take the time to get well? And then the next question is, how do we get well? How do we get through it?
Very important, because I feel very strongly if you don't take the time to stay well, you're going to have to make time to get well. So it's very important.
So true.
You have to educate to advocate. So that's why I wrote my book, The Estrogen Window, because if women get the information they need, they can become a partner with their healthcare provider, and they can become part of the team and get exactly what they need to feel better, more healthy, more vibrant, and really live longer.
I think it's scary because now with access to so many different forums and so many ways of communication that you can go online and your scenario, suddenly you're asking other women questions, but everyone is so unique. We're all so different. So to try to find those answers sometimes and self-diagnose, that's a little scary. It's where we need someone like you, who's an expert on the topic, to really kind of break things down for us.
You know, you're raising such an important point. There's a lot of misinformation based on myth. I call it myth information.
Right.
And it's so confusing for women, and that is why after seeing over 10,000 patients in my career and talking to them and getting what the questions are they have, I put over 11 pages of index in my book so that women can find exactly the symptom that they're concerned about and go there for help, because it's important to get that information. As I said, you want to be an advocate for yourself.
Right, and there's a quiz that we can take online, right? Tell me more about this.
Well, what I found is that women were so often confused about if they were in menopause or not, and they wanted information. So something called menopausequiz.com I've created, and by going to menopausequiz.com, they can get a self-assessment of where they are in this whole experience.
Wow, and then armed with that, they can then, as you said, become an advocate in their own health and get the help that they need.
Exactly.
Doctor, thank you so much. I can't wait to pick up a copy. It is called The Estrogen Window, available online in bookstores everywhere?
Everywhere, yes indeed.
Terrific. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Christine.
I appreciate your time.
Pleasure.
Hey, stick around. More Atlanta & Company is coming up after this break.